Alright. We're one-shotting this bitch. One-shotting it by myself because no one wants to be my friend. Alright. Power rankings, week 2. So, recap from week 1. There's our... Okay, yeah. So I plugged the draft power rankings in here, if anyone's curious. Week 1 scores, me and Scotty ran through. Another metric I wanted to throw on here, I really missed this from my Conoco days, was we just had cum barrels everywhere from all the oil we were pumping out. So here we're going to have cumulative wins. So you can use your max anal accounts to count cum wins. So here were the cum wins from week 1 scores. I got week 2 scores here, and just like last week, I'm going to, I've got our week 2, so this is cumulative cum wins. So Scotty's 22-0, a lot of cum in Scotty, a lot of cum. And we're going to rank people this week, just like we did last week. We are not going to do it. I am going to do it. So I'm just going to run through here again, and then if anybody hops on, they'll be free to weigh in too. But I'm just going to start. I got the injuries noted down here again, just because this is going to impact, it's a power ranking. It's what do you think your team is going to do going forward. It's not like how good have you been so far. That's what the cum tells us. It's where do we think you're going to move forward. And then once I have the rankings done, so I'll move the names around, then I'll give a movement. I've just put Scotty's in as a dash because, obviously going to stay number 1, right? But other people are absolutely going to move around. I already know a couple people off the top of my head who are in a bad way after some of these injuries and some more performances, and some people who got better. So, with that being... Oh, I can also talk about this too. I resurrected the Happy Matrix. So, this is tracking our college, NFL, and fantasy teams, how good they're doing. The point system is on here. It's kind of hidden right now, but there is one line in here. Basically, you get points for winning and covering the spread, or winning and not covering the spread, or losing and covering the spread, or losing and not covering the spread, with all the fantasy teams assumed as pick'em odds. And then we just kind of mash them all together and get a final percentage here. So this is through week 2 of the NFL. Here are the scores that we're currently looking at, according to everyone's assumed favorite teams. I can always update these if anyone wants to change allegiances. But this is where it's at for now, and no surprise, Scotty is in the lead with a big old percentage between UT smashing everybody, and he's 2-0, high scores. Yeah, so good. Scotty's having a great time. And then, like always, Denver is struggling. But who knows, right? We could see a lot of movement on this year, because these are all weighted towards expected win-loss totals for the college and NFL teams, as well as the weekly spreads. So if your team was supposed to win a lot and they do, you're not really rewarded more than a team that wasn't supposed to be that good. So win-loss totals and weekly spreads should dictate about how happy you feel about your various teams. OU, interestingly, very happy because they're covering the spread, but my God, this is a lie. They think OU plays Tennessee this week, and y'all motherfuckers gonna get baptized because Tennessee looks fucking awesome. And OU, I don't know how they covered spreads in these 2 weeks, because Jackson Arnold does not look that good, but we're gonna see in week 4 for the Sooners. So anyway, I'll keep updating this if anybody cares. I can share the link or whatever, but just interesting for me to see who is actually the most miserable so I can make fun of you. But yeah, I think that's all the pre-yapping I want to do. Now we'll get to the main yapping, and we'll get to look at David Goggins, because he came in, put him in the chat here while I'm clicking through teams. So just like last week, I'm going to sort of rank people as we go through. Again, these are just from last week, so I'm going to reshuffle these as we go through teams off to the side, and then I'll kind of reveal my final rankings at the end of this. So go ahead and drag this over here. We'll jump back into Sleeper. We're looking at week 2 scores, but I'm kind of assessing this across like how good do I think your team is moving forward, taking into account like performance, but also injuries, usage changes, stuff like that. But I haven't really looked at individual teams, so we're still, like I said, kind of one shot in this. So we'll start with Caleb. Caleb was ranked number 9 as of last week's power rankings. I don't think he had a particularly good week 1. Yeah, only 3 come wins in week 1. So not super great. Joe Burrow did have a major bounce back win in a big way, so that's good for Joe. I don't know about the Bengals as a team, but it is good to see Burrow actually perform. Okay, Carl might jump in here. We'll see. I'm just going to keep going, and he can jump on it if he wants. Yeah, it was good for Joe to prove that he still has it between the ankle and the hand from last year, and he didn't have a good week 1, but yeah, he still had a couple of the fumbles there. Oh shit, we got somebody on here. Oh, hi. Hi, Carl. Let me share my screen.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yeah.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me? Oh dear.
Oh, I got Bluetooth on.
I'm checking my... you should... Well, is this working? It's working on my recording.
I can hear you now.
Oh, you can hear me?
Yeah, I can
Okay.
hear you.
Cool.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Is there a bunch of noise?
No. You're loud and clear, sir.
All right, cool.
I shared my screen in Discord, so you can see what I'm looking at here.
It's not very clear, but we'll do our best.
We'll do our best. Here, let me zoom in a little bit more. Discord, if you don't have Nitro, you can only share up to 720p.
That must be it. I think I can see good enough.
Okay. Well, we're recording in 4K, so we're going.
Oh, are we recording right now?
Yeah. I was already
into this thing midway. Okay. Hi, everybody.
You did.
What'd I miss?
No,
what are we on?
I haven't really gotten to the teams yet because I was explaining. So this was week 1 scores and rankings, and I'm introducing come wins as a metric. So these are basically the schedule comparisons, like how many total league wins did you get last week?
Yeah.
So these were the rankings from last week, and then these are the rankings. Well, these are the same rankings in the same order, but I updated the come wins for week 2. So as we go through the teams, I'm gonna like move people around for like the week 2 power rankings. But that's all I've explained so far. Oh, and I have our team happiness index here that I made. showing that OU is probably feels much better about their team than they should right now, because they're covering games, but I feel like Tennessee is going to absolutely annihilate them this weekend, but we'll see. So I'm going to kind of go team by team here and just yap a little bit. And then we can look at rankings at the end. So I had started, you just jumped in, I was talking about Caleb's team, who only had 3 wins, league wins last week. But I was talking about how Joe Burrow finally looked good after not looking good last week. I
need him to look better for my Jamar Chase stakes.
That's true. He at least proved he could still throw the ball, which he didn't do a lot last week. So hopefully that means his wrist thing that he was dealing with last year's healed up. But yeah, even this is.
That's true. Let's just hope he stays healthy.
Hope so. Then we have Breece Hall. Scotty was not a truther. I am. I think he's going to keep doing this. Ramondre Stevenson. Again, Scotty was not a truther. This is his second game in a row that's like solid RB2 numbers. But we're going to get into some trouble here for Caleb's team. Although, Jordan Mason, he's going to keep being good. So I think he struck gold with that one. But I think Caleb's team is going to run into a little bit of trouble, although he had a good week this week, but Debo got hurt, Evan Ingram got hurt, and Kyron had a good game, but with Cooper Kupp going out, I just see teams continuing to stack the box. We can see that Kyron only had 12 for 25, but he had the receiving touchdown that kind of saved his week. So, good score. I mean, Caleb beat me, but I don't know if this, just between the injuries and some luckiness here, I don't know if this, majorly changes my opinion of his team. We had about 9 last week. I could see him moving up a couple spots, maybe. We'll see as we kind of go through teams here, but...
What's his team name?
He is Debo DK D's Nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, I like his running back squad. It's a good group as long as there's healthy. I mean, it's deep. I hear you.
Yeah. He left DK on the bench too. That's disappointing, but anyway.
Didn't he start Wandale over him? Yeah.
He did.
Wandale still put up 8 points. You got to respect 8 points. It's better than a goose egg.
He caught a touchdown, which is amazing that anybody else on the Giants got a target, because I think Malik Neighbors had fucking 15 targets or something insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, good for Wandale. Yeah. Okay. Next is my team, just because it's pulled up here. Honestly, a little disappointed in CJ. I don't think he had a particularly bad game. I think the Chicago defense is definitely above average this year. They had 2 touchdowns last week versus the Titans, although the Titans suck. They held the Texans to under 20 points with all their weapons. I think that is a good defense, but I would still hope that CJ could get, some better stats than this most weeks. So I'm not down on him necessarily, but, this is not. If you're going to be a top-end quarterback, you have to perform against good teams, and he didn't really do that. The Bears. Is what it is. Then we have Montgomery and Robinson, Adams. I'm not really going to talk. I mean, they are what they are. Good job, team. I was really hoping Bijan could pull out. If he would have got another touchdown and a few more yards, he would have given me a shot on Monday night, but he just didn't really do it. So that's too bad.
And you picked up Braylon Allen too, a good addition to the running back squad.
Yeah, I was surprised he's not showing up here because I just dropped this jabroni. But yeah, I was surprised no one else even went for him.
He
But
had
yeah,
a bunch of work last week. We'll see if it holds up. You just got to be happy with guys that are on the field.
pretty much, yeah. Um, well, yeah. Depending on the team they play for, I could agree. Yeah, Mark Andrews, he did get more play this week, which is great. Love to see it. Tight end still just continues to be an absolute shit show, pretty much across the league, but at least he's outscoring Isaiah Likely. I would have been scared to see him get more points again. So, yeah, I'll keep rolling with him until tight end changes. And Greg Dortch did nothing. Overall, my team, I think, where were we at? Last week I was at 6. I don't know if I would really move him. I mean, I had scored higher than this last week, I think, but...
You put yourself at 6 last week?
I think I put myself at 5, and then Scotty bullied me to move myself to 6.
I'd put you at least 5, probably.
I think it's a solid team.
I think your running back squad is good. I think it's at least top 4, probably squad, running back squad. And
maybe, yeah.
Especially if one of those backups, oh God, the dogs are barking. If Herbert can get some more carries, Braylon Allen can do what I think he's capable of. I think your running back group is really good, and we'll go good deep into the season if things work out well.
I hope so, yeah. I mean, I already had Mostert get hurt, although it's not serious. I think he's already practicing, but he's going to be... Last year was an anomaly, not just the touchdowns, but the fact that he played a full season was out of character. And then as long as Montgomery can stay healthy, yeah, I mean, it's going to give me a floor, so cool. That's our 2 teams. We're just going to go down the list here. Next, we'll go with K-Man. So, yeah, bummer of a week for Josh Allen. Nothing out of Rachaad White. I mean, really just Allen Lazard, nothing. Yeah, nothing on here just really gets me all that excited, to be honest. Puka's still out. He just traded away Kyle Pitts, too. I guess he has that much faith in Isaiah Likely. But, I mean, I can see trading away, because we still don't even really know if Kyle Pitts is good, first off. And second off, there's really no point in holding on to 2 tight ends, because the odds of you playing one in your flex is extremely low. So you might as well flip it for some value elsewhere.
And he got Devontae Smith, right? That's a pretty good return, I would say.
Well, it was Pitts and... Who else did he include in there? Charbonnet. Yeah.
And that Charbonnet, is Kenneth Walker out for a couple weeks? Is he supposed to play?
He was out this
week. Is that
week.
just a couple week fill-in, I guess? Wait, does he have Kenneth Walker on his team?
No, Scotty does. I don't know how long Ken Walker's out, though.
But yeah, with Puka hurt, that's killer for his squad, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so we had him at 7 last week. I think he might get bumped down with the injuries and trading away Pitts. Like, you're just kind of losing a lotto ticket. I guess you could say Demarcus Robinson gets a little bump from maybe some extra targets with the Rams situation, but and really this is probably a down week for Josh Allen too. So this is definitely low. I mean, I'd still see him, sitting around 90 to 100 points. Like, even if Josh Allen would have just had 20 points, he'd be in the mid 90s. So this is probably not too bad. I don't want to ding Matt too much, but yeah, we'll just keep going. I'm just kind of looking over here at my rankings. Next we have Trond, whose situation went from like shit to shitter. Like, it got even worse, I feel like. Yeah, Dak continuing to not have great games for the Cowboys. Swift, just this Bears offense. They have no O-line, which means they have no pass game, which means they have no run game. and that's just going to be rough for Swift, unfortunately. James Cook, the 3 touchdown game, that's very solid. Ayuk, maybe, he didn't have a great week this week, but I feel like that's still decent. With Debo being out and stuff, maybe he gets a few more targets. Probably the biggest shining spot on Tron's roster is Brock Bowers, who's one of the top tight ends right now. The dude's just getting all sorts of volume as a rookie tight end, which is very rare.
He looks like a stud. Hopefully he doesn't go the way of Pitts.
Yeah, I've always been like, and Pitts kind of reinforced it, like rookie tight ends are doo-doo. But then last year, Laporta, I thought was like the anomaly. And then this year, Brock Bowers.
Laporta's not looking great so far this season. Well, not that matters to this team.
Yeah, not to this team, but yeah, it's hard to know. Like, is it just something with tight ends being down around the league, which it seems like it is through the first 2 weeks, or is it?
And I feel like usually the first couple weeks are high on tight end points, but maybe I don't know. I just feel like that's usually how the season begins every season, but it doesn't feel like it's going that way this time.
Yeah. I don't know.
And who knows what's going on with Christian Watson? That doesn't help his situation either.
Yeah, it's rough with Malik Willis there. That's gonna be hard. Someone's gonna pick up Bucky Irving. I saw he got dropped today, but he's getting touches. Rachaad White does not look great.
Does he have Rachaad White? I thought he did. Was that the last team?
No, that was K-Man has Rachaad White. And he's got 25 carries for like 50 yards. He's just not looking good. Yeah, I mean, he's getting volume. Like, that's what you need. So someone's going to go. He'll clear waivers tonight, and someone's going to get him. So go put your bid in, Carl.
Because I don't even know. I'm going to go drop 80 on him. Oh, sorry, 79.
I might not even have this video posted tonight, so people might not hear this till after waivers clear.
All right, good. I'll let you know if I'm bidding on somebody.
Yeah. McCaffrey, who knows how long he's going to be out. Yeah, I just don't see Tron moving out of last place. We had him last week. I don't see how his situation got any better this week.
I don't know. The James Cook showing makes you feel a little better for him, but I don't know if you can really rely on that every week. Obviously.
Yeah.
And behind him with Christian McCaffrey out, I mean, there's just not much going for him in the running back world. So hopefully James Cook can keep showing out for him and keeping him above water.
Well then, so last week, let's go look at your team next, because if you think Tron could move up the power rankings at all, the only 2 people that we had, or the next 2 people we had above him were John, who had a great week this week, and so he was number 11, and then number 10 last week was your team. So
I mean, I could go on and on about my team.
Give me your evaluation here.
It's just not there. I don't got it. I feel like I have the worst running back room in the league. Connor's all I can rely on. I've got Brooks. I took some swings in the mid rounds, right? With Brooks, and I can't drop Brooks. I'm stuck with him. And really, like I said earlier, for me, it's all about getting guys who are going to see the field, even if it's 30-40% of snaps. I got to have people who are going to see the field on my roster. And yeah, it sucks. Connor, hopefully he stays healthy and will get me through. But behind Connor, I've got nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, dude, you really don't. It's sad. I saw Tank Bigsby got hurt too.
Yeah. So that's not fun. So maybe I should go put in a Bucky Irving bid.
Dude, Shaheed, he was carrying me at the end of last year. He's still going. So good for him.
Yeah, thank God for that. I mean, honestly, I felt going into this season I had the best wide receiver room. CD did fine for me, and I'm sure he'll pop off with a couple 25-30 point performances this season.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'm going to get that out of Chase. I'm not that confident. I was going into this season, but He's getting doubled. I mean, without T. Higgins there, it's ugly right now. It's ugly in my world. Travis Kelce not doing what Travis Kelce does.
Dude, what is up with Kelce?
Christian Kirk not doing what Christian Kirk has done the past few seasons. It's bad out here.
Yeah, I'm afraid Brian Thomas is stealing Christian Kirk's targets, but I don't know. I need like some real NFL people to tell me what is 7 targets to Kelce across 2 games. Like that's a half for Travis Kelce. And this is 2 games, 7 targets. And he's on the field. I mean, 90% snap rate. Like,
I mean, I'm sure he'll get his.
It's just crazy. Yeah. I don't know. You still aren't falling below Tron to me because I do believe that there are guys like Chase and Kelce that are going to be better. Yeah, even Brooks. I said after draft power rankings, I don't think he's like a savior for Carolina,
and with how bad that offense looks, I'm worried they're gonna look if he even goes out there and they're probably gonna put him on a snap count. Like it's gonna be half the season before I even get Jonathan Brooks.
Yeah, but still, he's gonna. I mean that is nothing but an improvement to your team. Like he's not gonna make your team worse because who's he replacing? Justice Hill? Like, yeah. So yeah, not great for you right now, unfortunately. Yeah.
Good thing I'm one lucky motherfucker.
Yeah. Right. Okay, Logan's team. So Logan got ranked. Scotty had him above me last week, even though I beat him. But Scotty just felt like his team underperformed. Anthony Richardson, God, this guy's just like the enigma of 50% completions, 3 interceptions, but almost 40 yards rushing and 2 fumbles, although I don't think he lost either of those. Like, just doo-doo butter. Just hot fucking doo-doo butter.
I mean, that's it. This has to be like his lowest floor. There's no way. I didn't think he could go this low because he runs and he launches it. And last week he got 27 points on 9 completions. I'm like, okay, this guy's got a high floor, but then the floor got lower this past week. So
yeah,
I have no idea what to expect out of him.
But we kind of knew that. Like, I feel like at least that was because I drafted him last year before he got hurt, and I feel like that's just what you take. Like Logan, you can't drop him. Like this sucks, and this loses you the week. But like you had to have drafted him, knowing you are depending on his rushing and his rushing touchdowns to get you his points, which means that whenever he doesn't score a rushing touchdown, you know you're going to get 15 points, or less maybe. So like that's just almost inherent to running out Anthony Richardson is like the ceiling to floor is just huge with what he's going to give you. Because, he's not going to throw the ball well enough to get you points. So it's just, is he going to run enough? And then Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, they did what they do. Not really much to talk about. Oh, I'm sorry. I said 15 targets to Malik Neighbors. It was 18. 18 targets to a wide receiver in his second ever NFL game. 18 fucking targets. So whenever you were drafting all your rookies, you got the wrong one. You should have drafted Malik Neighbors. Because holy shit. I will say this almost like gets canceled out in terms of like value of a pick because he also took Michael Pittman, who is, again, not going to ever do anything because he has Anthony Richardson throwing to him. So as good as Neighbors is, or, some of the other parts of his team, this is like a huge hole to have, unfortunately. Again, tight ends almost feel like just we're throwing them in the trash this year. Jamison Williams, he had a second solid game in a row. So after being terrible the last 2 years, really doing almost nothing, this year he's back-to-back, started out the season very strong. So good for him. And then bad luck with Dallas. The Saints, man, their offense is just absolutely cruising.
Yeah, I would wonder how that's going to hold up.
Yeah, and nothing on the bench. So, yeah, I mean, I'm definitely down more on Logan this week than I was last week. This might just
I
be how his
think
season goes, though, with
I
Anthony
feel good
Richardson.
about Logan's team, honestly, overall. Some of his players, you said it, like Pittman, aren't performing. Peyton Reed, you never know what wide receiver is going to pop up. But I mean, he's got running backs. Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, those are obviously great starters to have
Yeah,
just by volume alone. And then Zamir White's getting his carries too. Uh, like his backup running backs are getting on the field and getting volume, and that depth matters late in the season. So I think I'm higher on Logan's team than maybe some others.
yeah. God, he's just Ty Chandler 10 carries. That's surprising. Yeah, it's just because Aaron Jones is notorious. Like he doesn't play snaps at
Hmm.
a crazy rate, 50, 60%. He does that pretty much every year. He's just outrageously efficient. So, yeah, I mean that is good depth. You're right. Um, okay, yeah, move him there. Okay, next we'll go just down the row here. Oof, Crams. I'm sorry. So he's going to lose Tua for an indeterminate amount of time.
He picked up Carr though, right?
Did he get Carr today?
I
Um,
think he did. Maybe I'm wrong.
that might end up being better than Tua. Who knows? The bigger loss is, of course, Pacheco
Right.
out. So that's going to suck. Najee Harris still sucks. He will always suck. He's a flex RB masquerading as like a RB 1 or 2, but he's not. Drake London saved the day with a touchdown catch finally. That was a crazy game for Atlanta. And then Rashee Rice, yeah, I mean, good for him. Got a touch this week. Laporta's still nothing, although I do think this could improve. Um, yeah, Zach Moss, Jalen Waddle. Like this is again sucks to lose to Keenan Allen's hurt. Just like I don't know. I don't feel better about this team this week than I did last week, and that had him at number 8 on our power rankings last week. He had a down week this week, and I don't think losing these two guys is, I don't know how bad it's going to hurt, but it's definitely not going to make his team better to lose two of your
Yeah.
starters. So, yeah, probably going to get knocked down in my rankings here.
I think that's fair. I got him right around the 8 or 9 range as well after those injuries.
Yeah. And then, all right, one big, probably like the biggest mover up to me was John. So again, Patty just like, I mean, he's wins games, but he's not a fantasy guy. So he's getting the points you're going to get with him. ETN, Ford was unfortunate. I think he's better than what he's done the last 2 weeks, although he's still very much a starting running back. But just that Cleveland offense with Deshaun is just not fun. And Deshaun had a rushing touchdown this week, I'm pretty sure. So that probably ate away some points that should have gone to him. The guy of the week, though, the dude of the week, Marvin Harrison, 130 yards,
That's
and
going to
like
feel good for John.
90 of those were on 2 catches, right? 2 touchdowns. Yeah. Very vindicating. But then Whiplash, you lose Cooper Kupp for some amount of time. Is he on IR? They aren't sure if they'll place him on IR. That's not good to hear. But yeah, that definitely sucks. But I mean, even with losing Kupp, he didn't even score 5 points, and John still had an awesome week. So never fun, but Calvin
That's
Ridley, I think
true.
his second good game.
Gosh,
It's 7 last week, 22 this week.
there's no way we can expect that. Like Calvin
Yeah,
Ridley, well, Malik Willis, what was he doing with Trevor Lawrence last year? Not much. Like I just,
yeah. He finished as wide receiver 17 last year. I mean,
oh,
not
that's not bad.
not great, but not horrible. But I mean, I think you draft him as your wide receiver 2 slash flex.
Is he their number one out there in Tennessee?
Yeah, unless you count Hopkins.
No.
So yeah, he's got to be their number 1. But their offense is just not that great so far in Tennessee. Yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. And no respect for Singletary sitting on the bench.
I bet he'll respect him next week.
I bet so. He might not have a choice. With Kupp out, he's gonna have to plug him in there. Yeah, so big week for John. Good job. Some dudes that probably didn't perform last week that did this week. I don't know if this is going to be the norm either. I think this is like Marv is obviously not going to do 130 and 2 touchdowns every week. And if we're saying like looking forward, losing Kupp hurts, but at least he's coming back. So it's not like, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, moving up a few spots on my list anyway, just based on some of these guys finally getting scoring. And I still think Mahomes improves from here. I mean, he's had 2 not very good weeks. And I don't think he's going to finish as the top quarterback, but I think he's going to finish higher than QB 12. So, like, he still has room to grow in some of these places. So, good job, John. All right. And then we have Carlo, whose team continues to impress me, mainly riding on the back of Saquon, who I think is likely to finish as RB1 this year, just with how they're using him and how effective he is. Like, my God, as long as he can stay healthy. I know Scotty had some worries with him losing goal line work to Jalen Hurts, which I think Jalen did get a tush push into the end zone this week. But even with that, I mean, 16. And he dropped that 4th down pass that cost the Eagles the game.
That's true.
So that wasn't fun to watch. But still, fantasy-wise, points. I'm going to continue to be pissed at Josh Jacobs for having back-to-back solid games whenever he just, like, fucked me so many weeks last year. He should have been so much better. But, yeah, good for him. 150 yards. That's pretty crazy. Diggs kind of disappeared for the Texans. I don't know what happened really with our passing game. We were really leaning on Joe Mixon against the Bears until he got hurt. And then CJ just he had some good throws and some bad ones, and Nico was catching balls. I don't know. Diggs kind of got saved in week 1 with a couple touchdowns, and this week he didn't catch one. And I'm not worried about it, but I guess I'm keeping an eye on it that maybe Diggs isn't going to be what we thought he was to start the year. Brandon Cooks, I think this is just an unfortunate game for Cooks. I think he's going to be a good complementary wide receiver to CD in Dallas. I think Dallas's offense just stumbled this week.
Yeah, I think you're right. We need to see some more out of these, like Cooks and Diggs and his top wide receiver ones if he wants to, make a run at it.
Yep, for sure. Aaron Jones was less efficient this week. Jerry Jeudy. Yeah, I mean, he still has Higgins and Addison that are waiting to come back from injury. So, not much more to solid team, over 100 points, even with some disappointing performances from Diggs and Cooks and Jones, and he's still hitting 100 points. It's hard to be
exactly.
upset
a good
with that.
Stable running back group, a couple wide receivers that could pop off every now and then. I think it's a great team.
Yeah.
You'd like to see more stability at wide receiver. That's it.
Yeah,
Kittle's
I
great.
agree.
Lamar Jackson's great.
All right. Probably going to be one of my bigger fallers this week. Man, Mark's team, I think, took some pretty big hits this week. Caleb is just not good. Or I don't even want to say that. He's not going to be a fantasy starting quarterback. I think he's still more talented than productive. He was getting absolutely murdered in the backfield. His offensive line could not protect him. And that's just like translating. He still doesn't have any touchdown passes through 2 games. Yeah.
Yeah, that hurts to see.
Yeah.
A lot of people were really high on the Bears this year.
I know. I still don't know if he's good or not. Like, I watch him, and his scrambling is crazy, and then his pretty passes are absolutely beautiful, but then he makes some passes that I'm just like, what are you doing? I think he's like maybe trying to extend plays and make shit happen when it's just like a dead play sort of thing. But anyway, yeah, I just can't, and I don't know how long Jordan Love's going to be out, but like, he can't just keep running out Caleb.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Mixon, I haven't even seen. Holding out hope he can play this week. So yeah, disappointing to lose him, but we really don't even know how serious that injury was.
It's a big loss for him, though. He
was already
running back
weak, at running back, and that did not help. But that being said, just to immediately contradict you, J.K. Dobbins might be the steal of the draft. Back-to-back 19 points. Like, the efficiency here is like...
Yeah, that's insane.
8 or 9 yards a carry. I mean, crazy numbers. So that is a huge bright spot. I think maybe one of the reasons I was most down on him, on Mark this week, on top of the quarterback, on top of Joe Mixon, but really it's Tyreek's value. We're going to see... I feel like we've only seen Tyreek play with quarterbacks who are really good. I mean, just going from like Mahomes to Tua, or at least good enough to get him the ball deep. And he is now losing Tua, maybe for the season. We don't know. So now, like, a lot hangs on Skylar Thompson to get him the ball and keep producing at he's a first-round pick. I don't think he's going to be horrible, but I don't know if he's going to keep delivering, like Mark drafted him expecting a wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 level of performance. And I feel like that's going to be tough to hit without Tua there. So this is a big sticking point to me.
Yeah.
Although ASB did get his work in, so good for him. He had a rough first week, but he bounced back nicely. Tight ends are like not worth talking about still. Olave finally got in the mix. He wasn't really involved last week, but he did finally get some love for the Saints offense.
Yeah, not worried about him.
The bench, yeah, I mean they're fine. Like, Pollard might be worth more than we thought he would be. 2 back-to-back over 10 points, so like good running back fill-in maybe, or better than we thought he would be. And then isn't Alec Pierce he's like a top 6. So this guy's actually really interesting. Here's some just like off-the-cuff analysis that I remembered when I saw that Mark picked him up. So he's catching these big passes from Anthony Richardson. I remember this from some preseason research. Alec Pierce played the most offensive snaps of any skill player in the NFL last year. He almost
I had my eye on his snap count the last 2 years. He's always got a humongous snap count.
He doesn't come off the field. Also, I remember reading he ran the most go routes. Like, he doesn't have a route tree.
That's all he does.
That's all he does. So I'm willing to bet this dude runs the most yards of any player in the NFL. Like, all he does, he doesn't come off the field and he just runs go routes. Like, this guy, yeah. And yeah, I think I had looked at him. Did I ever? You had picked him up. I know I had looked at him at some point in his history.
He's one of Caleb and I's favorite players to joke back and forth about picking up, and it's fun seeing him pop off now. And neither of us having him on our roster.
Yeah, he didn't really do anything last year, of course. I mean, wide receiver 68 or whatever. the interesting thing, though, is like, he does the 125 the first game with the touchdown, and then he gets another 50 yards with the tutty this week. And my thinking is, like, is this sustainable? Obviously, it's why no one else has picked up a top 10 wide receiver. And then Mark was just able to swoop in and get him. Is Anthony Richardson cannot throw, like, he's not a good quarterback, but the dude has a cannon for an arm. So if they work it into the game plan, like this might be the Rashid Shaheed, of the Colts offense, where it's like 2 or 3 plays a game, he's going to get a bomb, and Richardson can throw it 60, 70 yards. So as long as he can like get behind the DBs every once in a while, he could end up being like a flex play, wide receiver 2 potentially. It depends on how consistently they can keep him involved. But yeah, that is like an interesting player. But overall, I think I'm leaning towards moving Mark down again, just because no quarterbacks still, Mixon injury, Tua is going to take a decline, I think, with Tua, or Tyreek is going to take a decline with Tua being out. So still a very solid team.
Pierce next week?
Does Mark what?
Does Mark play Pierce next week or this week?
Oh, did he pick up Dameon Pierce?
No. Alec Pierce. Do you think he's?
Alec Pierce. He would have to drop somebody out of here. So if he benches Mixon maybe and puts, but then he'd have to. I'd be surprised.
It'd have to be a wide receiver.
Yeah. Because you're not going to not play Hill. He's not going to play over Brown. I don't think he even gets on the roster. Mark. Yeah. This is the curse. So we had said after draft power rankings that Mark probably had the strongest receiver core in the league, which still looks true to me, top to bottom. But that you can only play 4 of them. So like your number 5 receiver, he's going to get some points on your bench, I guess, but it's not really adding to your starting roster.
It's a good bye week fill-in, though.
Yeah, very solid. And even with me being all down poo-poo on Mark, still over 90 points. Like this is not a bad team at all. But yeah, so interesting team for Mark. All right, our last 2 here. Travis, so Jalen Hurts does Jalen Hurts type shit. Good for him. Alvin Kamara went off. Amazing week. Yeah, still no RB2, like really no RB2 for this team, which we called out the same thing with Travis and Mark, even though Mark might have filled that with Dobbins. Travis is still hunting for that RB2. But yeah, his players are just delivering more. I mean, if Kamara's getting you this many points, you might, he's your RB1 and your RB2. Obviously, he's not going to.
What an insane pick if it holds
do that
up.
Every game.
The way he's playing and the volume he's seeing, he is that offense right now. It's insane. Apart from the bombs to Shaheed.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, Amari Cooper down week. Deshaun's not very good, but I think he's going to be. I think this is obviously a down week for him. Garrett Wilson, like decent, fine, whatever, 9 points. Nico Collins, just sucking up targets in Houston. I don't think he's going to score 24 a game, but I think even if he loses some of these points, it's because they're going to go to someone like Tank Dell or Stephon Diggs. But basically, I think the accounting for these points is still fine on this roster, just because he does have 2 receivers that Stroud is throwing to. I wish we could talk about tight ends more, but they're all just so trash that it's not even. They're all just bad.
Makes me feel less bad about Kelsey being bad, because all of them are bad.
I don't even know. I need to see who the number 1 tight end is so far, because I don't even think it's Bowers, although I think he's probably the top. Let's just go see right now. Isaiah Likely still. Bowers is tight end 2. Or is he 2? Oh, this must be standard scoring. Yeah, but he is number 2 in our league. It's Bowers, then Kittle, then Hunter Henry. He just got picked up this week. Yeah, I mean, good for him. 100 yards. Anyway.
Their time will come.
It will come. Who are we just looking at?
This squad, the cool guy Trav, Nickelback squad.
Oh, okay.
He's got great wide receivers. I mean, Garrett Wilson will have his games. Nico Collins had his game. A.J. Brown will. Is A.J. Brown still? How's he looking?
Still not practicing. Yeah, that's disappointing that he got hurt.
I mean, with health, this is a top 3 wide receiver group in our league.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I still have Travis really high up my ranks right now. Okay, I was looking. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, not much more to... The RB2 is still a concern, but otherwise, still a great team.
Yeah, when Kamara's dropping 40, who needs an RB2?
Yeah, exactly. And then last, we just have back-to-back number 1 weeks. A team that's just absolutely killing it. Yeah, just like up top to bottom, great performance. Really not even
Jefferson's healthy.
A low spot. Yeah, Jefferson did get dinged up, and so did who was he? He was playing Ferguson at tight end, I think, and then he just got... Who did Scotty just pick up? I don't know who's on his team now. Oh, he just got Pitts. Okay. So yeah, he might have even just upgraded at tight end if Pitts turns into anything. Although I guess, he lost Devontae Smith too. But yeah, I mean, I think that trade is like at worst a wash. I don't think his team got any worse from that trade. And then otherwise, yeah, A-Chain's continuing to feast. Gibbs is still solid. Kyler's running around throwing touchdowns to Marv. Justin Jefferson, 130 yards and a touchdown on 4 fucking catches. That's crazy. Hopefully the injury is not too bad, but yeah, I mean, just Ken Walker's sitting there on the bench. Like, it's hard to even the bench has players on it.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of guys like Worthy and Lockett who you never know when they're gonna pop off or not put up 3 points. We'll see how Worthy works out for him, but we're seeing what we thought we'd see after the week 1 pop off. Now we see the week 2 down week. We'll probably see more of the same.
Yep, exactly. All right, so I think that's everybody. I'll drag back in here my rankings then. So I had Scotty staying at number 1. I'm saying Travis is still number 2 with those receivers. Andrew, I'm bumping up from 4 to 3. I think he's going to be my number 3. Mark gets the corresponding move down from 3 to 4. Although his team's not looking great, but I feel like it's solvable. Like, a good quarterback is going to instantly put this back to like maybe a top 2 team. So not great, but something. I'm moving my team up from 6 to 5 just because Logan was ranked above me and he did not have a good week, so I'm moving him down. Caleb's team popped off. We might have had him too low last week in the number 9, but I'm moving him all the way up to 7. Logan went from 5 down to, would that be 8? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, 2, 7. Yeah. Then I had Matt fell a couple spots because his team sank a little bit. Or no, he didn't. Sorry. One spot. John goes from 11 to 9, so he's moving up. I'm encouraged on this. He had an amazing week. He could easily keep climbing this board. He might even already be jumping Matt to me. But we'll give it another week here. Chris, I'm putting at number 10. He had another bad week. You could make a case that Chris is last. Your team, I'm knocking down again. I really don't know if your team, I guess it got a little worse with the losses, but I don't know if your team really changed so much as John's team just proved that they can, put up points. But if your team were to also put up some points next week, this group right here is kind of interchangeable to me, maybe even all the way up to Logan. These teams are all roughly evenly matched. And then Tronda's is just stay in last place. Yeah, sad to lose C-Mac for at least the next 4 weeks, but really just, is what it is. If you lose your top pick and you lose your best player in the league.
I don't know. He had the biggest waiver pickup of the night in Carlston Steele.
Dude, he's not going to do shit.
You don't think so?
None.
You're not a believer?
I'm not a... First off, I don't know if he's actually any good. He ran at Ball State, I think I remember from the draft. He wasn't... I don't know if he actually did anything in college. There's a reason that I didn't know his name until the NFL.
Yeah.
And the Chiefs' offense is just not delivering top 10 running backs.
Right.
And if you couldn't already beat out Pacheco, you're already the backup. NFL teams play their best players usually.
Yeah, and Pacheco looks legitimately good out there, getting out of breaking tackle. He's a clearly, obviously a good running back. Steele, I've watched every single play so far this season. I mean, it's good they're giving him the ball. He had a bad fumble. Carlston Steele. I mean, we'll see. We'll see if they can open the holes for him, but he clearly doesn't hit holes like Pacheco does. He's not the same player. There's no way he's going to get nearly the same points if he even gets close to the same volume, which he's probably not. He's going to be a third of the volume, probably, if that, for each of them.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it all shakes out.
Pacheco runs he's pissed off at somebody. I think I'm just going to put my hot take on the record here, or on the recording, is that I think Pirine is actually probably going to get the most benefit. I think he's going to benefit the most, but I think he's going to stay as a third down receiver. He's not about to bell cow that offense, but I think he's the most talented and going to benefit the most. Then Steele's going to get carries, but he's almost going to be I'm not saying they're the same player, but a Zamir White situation, 10 to 12 carries a game for 50 yards, right? Not good enough to plug into a fantasy lineup. And then Kareem Hunt might not even make the active roster. I legit think he might just be a depth play. They also still have Clyde sitting on IR. He's going to come back at some point, and I'm not saying that as in go out and pick him up, but I'm saying it's just more people that are going to get worked into that rotation. There was, $200 in fab spent collectively on those running backs, and I'm not sure any of them are going to be worth anything. But we'll see. People can flame me if Carlston Steele turns into the next Peyton Hillis or something, just because they're both white. That's why I said that. But yeah, otherwise, this is my personal rankings. Do you agree with these? Are you thinking that there's anything egregiously wrong with this?
So I don't actually. I have all my notes with, I don't know who owns these teams, so I have team names and not who owns the team. So I don't know who owns which of my teams in the rankings. But I'll just do my best not to fall into 12th for you next week.
Thank you. Yeah. God, I want your team to be good because it's exciting when rookies are good. but so far they just aren't. So
I just want my top tier wide receivers that I banked everything on to do good.
dude, Jamar Chase has to be better. He has to, like, this can't be real. He has to be. You don't just fall off that fast. Like, it doesn't. It's just got to be a couple bad weeks.
It's got to be.
Same with Kelsey too.
But he was pissed too. I mean, he was got that terrible unsportsmanlike call at the end of the game because he was so pissed off about that hip drop tackle call that didn't happen.
Yeah. It'll happen.
We'll see. Hopefully they can get it together. They need to.
Yeah. It'll happen. I have faith you'll move up the board. But right now, the team is doo-doo. Although you do have 2 wins, so.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah. All right. That's a wrap. Week
Good work, buddy.
2 power rankings. Yes, sir.